Hey guys, it's Matt. Oh man, has Bill been cranking out the posters? Just a response already from yesterday's 6 or 7 minute little video about the 24-year ongoing trial situation with Sheikh Shack Mohammed. I got away with reading the article yesterday because I think I announced to the bot what I was reading. I'm going to be back to the old hobo code mode. And someone was like, well, why do you keep saying it's not 24 years, Matt? He was arrested years later. It's more than actually 24, 25 years because it was pre-planned 15 years before that. Technically, the trial's been going on for 35 years. It was planned out by Albert Pike. So you have here Bill's proposing, why don't they just try Benedict Arnold with Sheikh Shack Mohammed? According to Elon Musk and his Doji or Dojo or Doggy unit or something, it's about saving money and reintegrating the government to create efficiency. I'm not, does anybody think I'm joking? They still have Benedict Arnold awaiting trial. They're keeping him alive, or he's putting him into stasis next to the Walt Disney stasis chamber. They keep bringing him in and out of stasis every time his lawyer returns from the Cayman Islands. They're looking at, per Bill's poster, this is for real, to try them together. Doggy Group says that will save the taxpayer money. Now, Bill's not going to put hours and hours of work into these posters just to have me use it for 1 minute, like in that last segment. He knows I'll bring these posters back. I save every one. Are we ever going to be talking about the American Revolution again? And the word anomaly comes, yeah, it'll be back. Will we ever be talking about the Shake Shack man? Oh, it'll be back. He puts hours of work into this, guys. No, people go, oh, that's AI. No. AI couldn't do this. There's no he refuses. Absolutely, Bill will never ever use the AI. So Bill sent me this one this week because he's heard me, like you have, say donkeys, burros, jackasses, and mules so many different times. Every time there's something major that happens in history, there are the donkeys, mules, jackasses, and burros that made it all happen. And what the breaking news from the past 2 weeks, it's the middle segment, determined donkeys deliver everywhere, helping build the impossible architecture. So now they're telling us that there's gigantic cities below the pyramids of Giza. Guys, I don't care if they're there or not. It's still the same fake reality. Let them be there. That'll even make me more inclined to say, well, who built them? Nobody. Just part of reality itself. If it's all a hoax and they're trying to play a psyop on it, well, it doesn't matter. I mean, I don't care if they dig down and there's a gigantic city that goes 2 kilometers down, or they find an old rusty snow cone machine from South Philly. I'm still going to say the same thing. That who built them? Probably nobody. Probably part of reality itself. And one of the greatest tricks of this reality that Not takes advantage of all the time is, in many cases, there is no answer. It's the ultimate trick of this place. Well, Matt, certainly if we put enough time and effort in and we use logic, we'll eventually find the truth. No. Sherlock Holmes was a deceiver. Sherlock Holmes was used by Not, just like the bullshit quotes from Richard Feynman, but in this case, we'll stick to Sherlock Holmes. I just got the quote slightly wrong, so I had to go look it up. Hey, AI overview. Hey, thanks. Sherlock Holmes famously said, quote, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. No, that's falling for the deception of this reality. You're a Not fraud, Sherlock Holmes. I can say that because it's all copyright free now. You can make Sherlock Holmes do any sick thing in a brothel. You can write your little sick stories about Sherlock Holmes. I think he's one of the few poor devils that's in the public domain. Once you have eliminated the impossible, no, actually how this reality works is how it actually did this or that is, per the standards here, impossible. And it wants you to follow his advice and actually eliminate what could be the impossible. And then whatever else remains, just secret societies, must be the truth. No, we put the impossible, or many of the old guard, put the impossible first as the explanation. We live in a supernatural realm. Who built the pyramids and the gigantic cities that now going down 2 kilometers underneath? 2 kilometers? 2 kilometers underneath. Who built it? Nobody. I put the impossible first, Sherlock Johnny Holmes. You know how Eric Stoltz was supposed to be the lead actor in Back to the Future, then they switched it over to Michael J. Fox? We've all heard that. Well, little do you know, there was somebody that was before Watson. It was somebody like me and you. And Sherlock Holmes got rid of him. All we know in history is Watson was always with Sherlock Holmes. There was somebody that had a job for 2 weeks before he was rudely fired by Sherlock Holmes. Well, let's call him Grant. Brant, you told Brant on the phone? He told me. Brant, once you eliminate the impossible... No, let me stop you right there, Sherlock. No shit, Sherlock. Once you eliminate the impossible, Sherlock, the big thinker, doesn't eliminate the impossible because you may be falling for a reality trick as to what you think is possible versus impossible. I'm Brant. I don't eliminate the impossible. Well, you have to if you want to work for me. Then I'm not working here anymore. The annals of history has eliminated Brant. All we know is Watson attached to Sherlock Holmes because Brant dared to say, eliminate the impossible, sir? Well, who defines what's possible? Your own bias. Your stereotypes, what you've been led to believe your entire life. What you consider impossible may not be what a shaman that lives along the Nile River or the Amazon thinks is impossible, Sherlock. I'm not going to eliminate what you say is impossible, sir. If you want me to... You're firing me? Well, what? You're hiring that loser? That Watson? He's a... Oh, jeez. I'm out of here. Burger King, here we come. Now back to the poster. The right side is inspired by Charlie Wilson's War, which Bill already gave us a poster on that. It says, helping bring the donkeys, burros, mules, and jackasses, helping bring weapons to win a war so your towers could fall. Now, Bill's just joking there. He knows that it wasn't a mujahideen that got out of control that eventually led to disgruntled men in a cave. Bill's just joking. But Bill's saying this is the story. That every major story in history has the jackasses and the mules, just like when they showed all the weapons coming across the mountains. And we talked about it, it's the same set of mountains, the same Khyber Tora Bora Pass. And they got these weapons to the Mujahideenis. Then the final 15 minutes or so of Charlie Wilson's War with Tom Hanks showed you what happened. We need to build schools. We just can't come in and finish it. We need to support them, or things could get all the crazies. What is it? Lawrence Fishburne. I almost called Philip Seymour Hoffman Lawrence Fishburne. I started to. I did it again. Philip Seymour Hoffman says the crazies are already moving in, all just laying down that part of the ridiculous script. The Mujahideenis didn't get their schools built and their Rita's water ice, so they had to take it out on Larry Silverfish's complex. Oh, sure. And returning to the concept of stalled century, how old are some of these people now? How old is Larry Silverfish? Is Warren Buffett still going to work? I mean, are they still presenting that? I think they are. I don't follow it. I don't know, but nobody under age 100 ever dies off. Hey, Not Milk, if you're listening to me, who's the new crop of creeps other than Zuck the Borg, okay? Who's your new crop going to take over? Okay, I just went to look up how old is Bill Gates. This doesn't make any sense to me. It said 69. He's going to be 70 this year. I would have said, easily about 75 or older. That doesn't make any sense. But still, there's no second team ready to take over. Again, Zuck the Borg. Zuck the Borg is about as charming as sandpaper toilet paper. Are you? Musk. Elon Musk. He's in his early 50s. You're Not Milk. If you're listening to the words coming out of my mouth, you're going to put all your eggs in the Elon Musk basket. Basically, somebody who's proven to be a completely retarded moron that can't even conduct an interview anymore without putting his foot in his mouth. He was stumped on the Joe Rogan show. He contradicted himself several times. Even one time, it's one of the few times I've ever watched the Joe Rogan show. He's like the boring company. It's a play on words. Did you note that, Joe? Boring company. You have this flamethrower, but you also dig these tunnels. Get it? Boring down into the earth. Boring. Bueller. How did? And even Joe Rogan was like, it's all Not Milk, but maybe he's allowed to ask a few questions that pop into his bong-filled brain. He said, when you just start digging, don't you need permits and stuff for that? And Elon wasn't ready to answer the question. No, we just went out and into our complex in the backyard and started digging into the earth, boring for these underground subways that promise every 5 years they promise. Is there one high-speed underground subway yet that the Boring Company has built? What taxpayer money's paying for that? Even Joe Rogan was like, well, don't you need a permit? And Elon Musk was like, he didn't even know how to answer it. Permitting? Well, I didn't think someone like me needed that. Well, somebody like him that answers to the group that he answers to doesn't need it. Nor do they need money, nor do they need passports. Here it is, just so you know I'm not talking out of my ass. He's done nothing. While Elon Musk's Boring Company hasn't built traditional subways, they have built the Las Vegas Convention Center LVCC loop. Wow, yay! He really did something. A 3-station transportation system, 3 whole stations with 1.1, almost 2 miles of tunnels. After hearing about the Boring Company and all the things it's going to do for the past 12 years, they built 2 miles of tunnels. That's not even as far as the cities go down under the Great Pyramid. And they're expanding to a total of 68 miles of tunnels. Oh, we're expanding. Oh, sure. But just like was said by Captain Whatever to Utah in Point Break, 3 weeks of surfing. You know what you brought me? Squat. 12 years of the Boring Company. You know what you've brought me? An LVCC loop so drunken gamblers can get to the MGM Grand a little bit quicker. Give me a break. Just with everything, Elon, this is a truth drop. Elon Musk's, this company hasn't done anything. SpaceX hasn't done anything. Tesla's the only one. He only owns about 4 cents of that company. He's just a front man. You think he owns, people, do you really believe he owns Tesla? No, I don't think so. He's a front man and a retard to boot. I think it was George that sent me this collage of Paris and what it's become. I love talking about the downfall of Paris. Real quick, George, remember he put those 20 T-shirts together, Not Milk, Always There? I think he's only gotten like 3 T-shirts out to other Australians and New Zealanders. So, guys, I think the only way he's going to do it, at some point he'll put it on eBay, but there's a minimum like the equivalent to US dollar, like $10 minimum or something like that. I told him, I don't want to ever appear like I'm selling something, but the guy shouldn't be stuck with 15 T-shirts. He'll do this eventually, get it on eBay, and then he'll have, if you're the equivalent of like $15 Australians, like $9 US, he'll have the minimum shipping to ship it to you. It'll be no cost for the T-shirt, but if he's going to ship to Chicago, that cost should be covered. It shouldn't be George paying for that. Although he agreed to pay for the T-shirt costs and the cost to ship in Australia and New Zealand. Australian New Zealanders, there's T-shirts. Stop it. I love talking about the downfall of Paris. George emailed me about that. Guys, looking at the picture of Paris here, as slated like San Francisco as one of these cities to go down and get worse and worse and worse, I thought I haven't seen any news, although I don't watch, but if there was anything big, it would be presented to me. I don't think much has been going on in Paris or France this year in 2025 in the way of labor riots or Molotov cocktails in the streets. Now, it's pretty new in the new year. They've got plenty of months to take to the streets and to light garbage cans on fire like they always do, but it's been pretty quiet. And I looked it up, and it has been. There really hasn't been much. It was those political riots, but I looked it up. I don't follow French politics I don't follow American politics. Until yesterday, I didn't even know who the Secretary of Defense was. I got very confused. I forgot it's a president, not a prime minister, but they have both. So I said, who is the current prime minister of France? And this guy popped up, Francois Bayrou. And who the hell is Francois Bayrou? What happened to Macron? And what happened to his mother? What happened to Macron and his mother? And I thought, this is okay. There's elections. I didn't realize. Wait a second. Do they have a president and a prime minister? Who is the current president? And Macron and his mother are still there. But Francois Bayrou, prime minister, is that one of these titles like a provost in a university? You don't do anything, basically, and you not that the president, like Macron, has any real power. He answers to Not Milk in that dark room just like everybody else. But you want to talk about, I think the prime minister, maybe this is just a guy that goes around and does wine tastings, or he does restaurant reviews or something. Anybody from France, or Danny, is there any power behind the prime minister of France, or is he just a restaurant reviewer along the Seine? Let's zoom in on this picture to see what's going on. We can use the Vatican's chronovisor to actually hear what's being said. Papa, look how beautiful our city, Paris, the city of lights, Paris. Will it get more beautiful, Papa, over time? Yes, little Jacques, it will get more beautiful. We're just beginning to come into our technology, and everything's going to get better as the future comes in. Oh, you misled your child, sir. Now, the little kid in that picture from the 1890s would be dead, but this is what he left his grandkids. And they're out there with their Molotov cocktails and burning trash cans, and I think it's a 36-hour work week, and it's too much. Say, our mandatory work week shouldn't be more than 25 hours a week, and every time I go to a restaurant along the Seine and all the wine, it should be paid for by the government. The leftists have promised us that. Fuck this conservative government. They say we actually need to work. Fuck that. Here's another poster from Bill on a theme he's been covering in a lot of these posters, several of which I haven't shown you yet. I call it the overexpansion series. It also could be part of the reality completely gives itself away series, exposing itself as a fake reality. Whether it be Napoleon in the middle there, Rome on the left, the Nazis, Genghis the Khan, Attila the Huns, the Ming Dynasty, whatever it may be, they all have to follow the same exact overexpansion script. Meaning there's not one king, dictator, emperor that just said, we have enough. Because it always follows the same script, guys. Reality gives itself away. Are you going to talk to me now about the tendencies and what made them a dictator in the first place? And they have a tendency to seek power, Matt, so they will never stop seeking power? Really? Oh, I wasn't. My bad. I wasn't aware of that. No, because for thousands of years, it's been the exact same script with no deviations. It gives reality away. This is another example of pendulums only moving in one direction. If you pull the pendulum back on the string and let it go, well, in a real world, it comes back. Things go ebb and flow. Anything that moves only in one direction. A government has just keep taking and spending more. Will you ever get an announcement? I put this in one of my books, but I don't know which one. Will there ever be an announcement from the city of Chicago or the city of Philadelphia that says, we actually controlled spending this year, and because we did such a good job, we're giving $600 million back to the taxpayers? It will never happen. The pendulum only goes in one direction. That's a symptom of fake reality. You can make all the excuses in the world for it. Well, Matt, governments are just known to waste. Really? Yeah, but it always works this way. Everything always flows in one direction. That's why this place is not very real. If the people around us in general, or your best friend, or the characters of history are literally on a download and following a script, that means the reality isn't very real. What would you call it? I mean, the same mistakes, Napoleon to Hitler, invading Russia in the winter. I mean, a first grader wouldn't do that. It just doesn't make any sense. Somebody could come, hey, Napoleon, I'm Matt. Hi, I'm Matt. We know each other? We do know each other. We grew up as kids together. I'm Matt. You're Napoleon. Let me just talk to you for a second over. Come here, sit down over here. Who's that? Oh, Josephine, she's cool. Maybe you have all these countries here, and now you have Egypt, and why not just live with this? We need Russia in the winter. Well, maybe you don't want to do that. It doesn't make any sense. And the first grade truther will yell fake. Like there was no army that went into Russia, and it's all fake. And I think the people on the download, or whatever they are, the NPCs, they carry out what Not Milk wants. I think it's very real, the battles. But even if it's real, you know what I'm going to say? It's fake. But I don't blame the first grade truther for just yelling all fake, 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 because it doesn't make any sense. The first grade truther says no real emperor or general would go into Russia in the winter when they already have 20 countries under the control. What are they going to gain? A few vodka distillation centers? What's to gain? It's so bizarre. I don't blame the first grade truther for yelling fake, but that's not how this world works. But then, of course, you get into the same problem. The logistics, Matt, you talked about in a video a few months back. How do you carry cannons and horses and hundreds of millions of rounds of ammunition and tens of thousands of soldiers across thousands of miles here and there? I agree. As you look at it closely, all of reality starts to break down. Therefore, I'm very satisfied by just in general tossing out, even if it's real, it's fake, because we still come back to a fake reality. The need to actually see what is what, the need to investigate further into research and to see what parts are considered real and what parts are considered fake. We talked about in this very video. That is taking the bait on what this reality puts forth. It's not a cop-out. You simply look at it, and once it starts breaking down, you just step back and say, just another part of a fake world. And what am I here for, and what am I supposed to do in the short time I have left before I go through the portal of death? It's not a cop-out to get closer to it, to do more research. That is falling for the trick. That's why I have so many nasty trolls. The last thing the dark reality wants is for you to pack your bags and to walk away and say there's no reason to do any additional research. There's no reason to try to get closer to it. Or when will the first set of investigations come out as to what cities are under the Giza pyramids? I can't wait. Or what was just released by Trump in terms of the JFK files. It needs you on that wall trying to get closer to it. The last thing in the world is to say, well, I don't have all the answers and I don't need all the answers and I'm just generally going to move away from it. That is not a cop-out. That is the highest level of truth. But then are you done at that point? Unfortunately, that's basically the start of part two, the work, the worry about yourself activities. Nothing can be done on the back end until you just say, it's all bullcrap. It's all a distraction. If it sucks you in, you can't do part two, the work. But that's really where it starts. And that's where we have a lot of work to do in the short amount of time we have left before we walk through the portal of death. I'll close by using this example to express how we in our group here are generally so frustrated and why we're so frustrated with the people around us and how they simply do not see the very basic things that we see in terms of what gives a fake world away. Now, this is, you'd call it a movie reviewer site. This person, the despot of Antrim, I guess I'm pronouncing that wrong. I respect the person that puts this channel forth. They're extremely intelligent. I think at 130,000 subscribers, it's ridiculous. They should have half the amount of the Critical Drinker. The amount of time and effort put into these videos. This is an hour 40 long video about Ridley Scott's Napoleon. It's almost as long as the movie itself. Well, the movie itself is probably pushing 3 hours. But an hour and 40 to review a 2.5 hour movie. And he will tell you at each step. I mean, I didn't know he was some sort of Napoleon historical expert. He will tell you all the mistakes that Ridley Scott made, but either way, he will show you and he will tell you what Napoleon was doing when Ridley Scott just cut out 10 years here and there. But in terms of the Napoleon story and how one man with horses and dragging 10,000-pound cannons, and you just want to say to the despot, and somebody may leave a link that I mentioned him in a video, I would say to the despot, there's a very small chance he'll be listening, but how could you possibly believe that one man was able to transverse such distances? Where did the army eat? How did it drink? How do you drag cannons through mud? Just invading. I can't even get done what I have to do during the day. And it's just me here with 2 cats. How do you, it's not possible. I mean, if you go out there, I'm not saying it's fake. If you go out there, all the evidence in the world exists. The Battle of the Nations, that these battles took place. But how? How could anybody do this in a lifetime? All the things that Napoleon was said to do, the distances, the amount of men involved. How do you feed them? Where do they sleep? I mean, it just doesn't, if you get really close to it and think of it in terms of these terms, reality itself starts to break down. I mean, with modern highways and aircraft, and it would be tough to do. Horses and mud and rain and tents and sleeping bags, and what do they eat? What do they drink? An army of 40, 50, 60, 70,000? I mean, where's the food come from? Just hunting. I mean, what? It all breaks down. And even the despot presents, 50 more facts about the Napoleon story that's not mentioned in the Ridley Scott movie that makes it even more unbelievable. I appreciate he has and knows the history of Napoleon. I don't, okay. But if you back up from it and say, if you know the history, just ask the basic questions. How could this possibly have happened for over a 20-some year period? How? It couldn't. There's no, you get into if the despot's listening to me, you get into what we do with this channel. We analyze reality itself, which as you get close to it and look at it in a certain light, it starts to break down as a false world. Thanks for listening.